In this video, I'm going to talk about the Starlink Mini. I'm going to talk about how we connect this in our vans, where we run the wires, where we mount the dish, how we mount it. Now, I've already done a video on exactly why we think the Starlink Mini is really the best option for internet in a van or RV. So if you want to check out that video, I'll put a link up here, and there'll also be a link in the description. If you're thinking about having a really good internet in your van or RV, then this video is definitely for you. So let's get into it. Okay, so let's unbox this Starlink Mini. If you haven't seen one before, it's a really nice small unit. It's basically about the size of a sheet of paper. At this point, it's about a 1/2 inch, and it slopes up a little bit more in the back, but it's very low profile and very small. The router and everything that are contained within the dish, so you don't need a separate one. We've mounted the Starlink in motion systems in vans before, and it requires a bigger dish, but then also a big power supply, a router, 120 volts for the outlet. And so this one, really nice that it's all self-contained. So in the box, you get the dish. You also get this mount, which is if you want to mount it, this will just snap into the back. And then if you want to mount it on a pole, you can do that. It also has a little mount that just tilts so you can set it on the ground. And I'll show you that mount in a minute. Then it also comes with a cable that one end connects to the back of the dish. The other end connects to this plug, which is 120, goes into a 120 volt outlet. We don't actually use this. I'm going to explain to you a different cable system that we use that's much better for vans or RVs. But if you are going to use this in a home or somewhere where you have 120 volt power, then you can definitely use this. Okay, so let me set this aside and let me talk about what we do. So for the power, what we do is we buy a straight USB cable. So this cable just has the Starlink plug that plugs into the back of the Starlink right here, and it's waterproof. This cable is actually from Starlink. I highly recommend that you buy the one from Starlink, and I'll get into the details a little bit more. You can get these on Amazon. You can also get one that plugs into a cigarette lighter on Amazon, but I recommend getting the ones directly from Starlink. Okay, so we use this cable that goes into a USB port. Then the next thing we use is this little USB power supply, USB-C power supply, and we get this from Cool Gear. And I will put a link to this in the description as well. And the great thing about this little guy is it provides 100 watts. So Starlink states that you need to have 100 watts to run this, the Starlink Mini. Now, it'll run roughly at probably about 60, 65 watts, but just to be safe, you want to have 100 watts, especially because if you have a longer cable, you're going to have some voltage drop, which is going to affect how many watts you're actually getting. You want to make sure that you have a USB port that can handle that. So this is a USB-C. Most of the USB-C plugs or adapters or ports that you would put in a van will supply anywhere from maybe 20, 40, 60 watts, but very few of those will supply 100 watts. This little power supply can handle anywhere from 6 to 24 volts. So whether you're running a 12 volt system, 24 volt system, you just run your positive and negative wires right into this little guy, little set screw that attaches those, and then you just plug this into the back of this power supply. And you can mount this anywhere in the van. Here you can run it off a switch if you like, and then your USB-C just plugs into this port right here. So this is the power supply that's going to run the Starlink Mini. I really recommend that you use a good quality power supply like this one. So this cable, I believe, is about 15 or 16 feet. I think it's actually 5 meters. That's the longest cable you can get from Starlink. You could look around and try and find longer cables. The problem is the longer the cable, the more voltage drop you're going to have. And so I think that's probably the reason they limit these cables to about 15 or 16 feet. So you're going to need to locate this you know, within 15 feet or so of the dish up on top of the van. The next thing you're going to need to figure out how to do is how you're going to mount the Starlink to the top of the van.
Hey guys, do you enjoy the outdoors but planning meals has got you down? Whether it's space, weight, refrigeration, or prep, healthy, quick, and easy, delicious meals can be a real challenge. More and more people are turning to Thrive Life freeze-dried meals because they're lightweight, need no refrigeration, have no preservatives, and taste amazing. Just add hot water and you've got a meal in less than 10 minutes. With breakfast, lunch, and dinner options, Thrive has got you covered. Check out the link in description for more info.
Now, I've done another video where we used a magnetic bracket from Amazon, and that one works fine. But Owl just came out with one that I really like. It's a lot smaller and sleeker. The magnets are actually stronger than the one on Amazon. And it's just a really nice looking, well-designed little guy. And it's actually about the same or maybe even a little bit less than the one on Amazon. So this is going to just sit anywhere on the top of the van. It's magnetized. So this little bracket actually comes with the Starlink. You take it, snap it off to the back. It fits right in here. You snap it off the back and you mount it to this plate. Then all you have to do is take your Starlink and just plug it in. And so I haven't tightened all the screws up, so that's why it's a little bit loose. But that's just gonna sit like that. Now, one thing that's important is when you do mount it, because this mount is plastic, when you if you go to pull this off of the van, you wanna grab the mount from the bottom when you pop it off, because it's pretty hard to pull off, and you pull it just by the dish, you can break that plastic bracket. But that bracket's plenty strong to go on the top of the van. And then again, to take it off, it just slides out and pops out. Okay, so it's a really nice bracket. So it snaps in like that, and then you just pull it out. Okay, so what I really like about this bracket is that if you want to move, let's say you're parked under some trees and you want to move the dish, you can either just pop this whole thing off and take it, or you can just snap it off of the mount and move this out from under the trees or away from your van or anywhere that you need. Or if you wanted to take it on a hike or bike ride or something like that, you're going to be gone, wanted to be able to use this remotely, then you could just pop this off, throw it in your backpack, and take it with you on the go. So if you are going to take it on the go, then you need a way to power it. Obviously, you're going to unplug it from the roof of your van, and that's where you'll need some kind of a battery power supply. Now this one I really like. It's made by Anchor, and I will link to this in the description. This one can provide 100 watts that this Starlink Mini needs, and you've got a couple of USB-C ports, a USB-A port. This is a great battery pack just for backup power, but it's one that will power the Starlink on the go. So what you would do is you would just have an extra cable that you could throw in your backpack along with this, and then you could power this from this battery backup. That's something I really like about the Starlink Mini, is the ability to have it on your van, but if you were needing to move it to another vehicle, away from the vehicle because of obstructions, or you want to take it on the go, it's totally flexible in that way. Now, the last thing I want to talk about is how you run the wire or the cable from your roof down to your van. Now, if this is more of a temporary thing, then you could just have this on your roof, and when you stop and want to use it, then you could just plug this in, run it out a window or door and up to the roof and plug it in. But if it's more of a permanent situation, then you're going to want to have some kind of a gland on the roof that you can run the wire through. What we recommend is the roof glands by ScanStrut, and I'll put a link in the description. I'll drop some pictures here in the video that show you a couple of different options. They have one that's round for just a single wire, and then they have one that's more of an oval that you can put multiple wires. And the nice thing about it is you just drill it out for whatever number of wires and whatever size wires you need, and you can run them through there. Really secure, watertight. They're made for a marine environment, so you can trust them. We've run up to, I think, 7 or 8 wires through these. So, a lot of times we'll have lighting on the roof, we'll have wires for an electric awning, we'll have our solar wires, we'll have the Starlink wires. We can run all of those through one single gland. So those plastic typical solar glands that you'll see, we don't like those at all. We've stopped using those. We've had a couple of issues where they cracked and water leaked in and we ended up having to replace them. So spend a little bit of extra money and go with a high quality entry gland for your roof. It would be well worth it in the long run. Now, if you're a DIY builder, we have some resources that we've designed for you. You know, I started out as a DIY van builder about 5 years ago, and my heart and soul are kind of with that community, and so I like to try and support them however I can. We've created a spreadsheet with all of the different products that we use in our van builds, products that we've tried and tested over the years, that we can stand behind and that we trust. So we put all of those in a Google Doc because that way we can update it as things change or if links change, things like that. And so there'll be a link to that down in the description where you can access that Google Doc for your DIY van building needs. We've got some other things. We've got a van build sequence sheet that kind of walks through the order that we do things in our van build, and a lot of DIY van builders have found that very helpful. And then we also have some products and other resources on our website, so you can check out the links below for those. So hopefully you got value out of this video. If you want to see more videos like this, we do videos about van building tips and tricks, van life, product reviews, and more on this channel. So please consider subscribing and be sure to smash that like button. And we'll see you in the next video. Jeff with Thrive Vans, Thrive On. See ya.